Before I make a review of this reel, I want to make a disclaimer that before I purchased this reel, I already owned 2, 4, 6 Abu Garcia reels. So if you consider my biases, keep in mind that in the last 3 years I haven't had a single catfish fishing session without at least one pair of Abu Garcia reels. This reel is fascinating to me. Amazon, Cabela's, Bass Pro, anywhere you go, there is nothing but 5-star reviews for this reel. And the reason I found these 5-star reviews so impressive is this. These are Abu Garcia record, same size as this one, and basically what this is a better version of the catfish reel. And I owned this for 3 years and I never heard anybody rave about this reel, which is either better or equal in every aspect to the catfish reel. I never heard the catfish community fascinated and raving about this reel. I never saw 5-star reviews, hundreds of 5-star reviews anywhere. And while it's a smooth and nice reel with the $200 price tag, this reel is kind of a difficult recommendation. This guy is usually $150, $160, but Amazon had $40 off for Christmas, so yours truly couldn't resist anymore and jumped on it because I wanted to find out finally what is the magic of the Abu Garcia Catfish Special. After all, half of what this channel is about is catfish. So, you know, it's like the Bible. Believe it or not, you have to read it because you need to know what it's talking about. Now, usually when I do my reviews, I go frame, gears, bearings, clutch, drag, handle, clicker, and other accessories. But this time I want to do the review a little bit differently. I'm gonna group the categories into pros and cons, and I'm gonna go over the pros first because it happens to be a shorter list, and then I'm gonna go over the cons. Okay, pros. What is probably the biggest pro of this reel? I think it's the drag. The reel actually advertises a sophisticated carbon drag system and as one of the main features of the reel, and I'm inclined to believe that now. Now, if you haven't seen my tackle videos, I have installed high quality carbon washers into at least half a dozen reels by now, and I can immediately tell if the drag on a reel is high quality or not, because I know the before and after feeling of installation of good quality carbon washers. And when you feel this drag, it feels good. You can feel a tiny grinding, like that, the grinding that comes from the texture of high quality carbon washers. If you have paper or plastic washers, there is no grinding. Maybe grinding is the wrong term to describe it, but if you have only smooth paper or plastic washers, it feels perfectly smooth. So before I have opened this reel, I can tell you that this reel will have inside high quality carbon washers and more than one of them. On top of having high quality washers, the drag has this super long range of adjustment. Okay, if you loosen the drag all the way, you spin, there is still a little bit of resistance. Okay, then you can start tightening. You can do 2 full revolutions of the start drag. Okay, and you still have drag. It's still not locked. You have 2 full revolutions of adjustment on already high quality drag. So this is, I don't want to say the best drag I've ever tested stock. Maybe those Ryogas over there have better, but it probably is the best drag that I have tested on a non-exotic reel. This Cardiff, for example, has a horrible drag out of the factory. What I just described about the range of adjustment on a drag from fully opened, from fully loosened to fully tightened, it's maybe a quarter of a turn. So it's very difficult to adjust properly the drag. And then you have cheap plastic washers inside. Okay, enough about the drag. It is really good, I admit. And you need drag when you fight good catfish. The other pro of this reel is the handle. The handle also, I think it's the best handle in the business. Unless you talk about something exotic like this $500 Ryoga, I have not seen or felt a more comfortable handle than on this reel. And handle is important to me. So the knob is good. There is no bearing here, but you don't really need a bearing there. Swept handle and a weight on the other side to balance it. So again, the Cardiff, horrible handle out of the factory. Catmax, okay, but cannot compare to this, you know, cheap Chinese stuff similar to the Catmax, maybe identical. The handle is the best in business. Next pro has to be this clicker. Man, is this clicker easy to use. And I like the sound too. It's almost singing. So smooth. The perfect placement on the reel. You don't need to look for it in the dark. Look where Shimano decided to put their clicker. Right on the bottom of the reel, and you need your nails. You need to stick your nail here and try to click it out of here and move forward. I mean, whoever designed the clicker on the Shimano just need to be let go. This, again, I believe, the best clicker in business, which is why the Bass Pro Catmax, they stole it, but they placed it a little bit lower, so it's not as easy to find. It's kind of closer to the bottom of the reel. I like the clicker right here on top, so I can turn it on and off with my thumb. So amazing clicker, very smooth, and the perfect placement on the reel. And unfortunately, I cannot find any more pros on this reel. This copper color, I'm not a big fan of this, unless you have the Chad Ferguson Catfish Seeker rods, which are almost the same color as this. It would be awfully difficult to find a matching rod for this copper color. So I have to start with the cons. Out of the box, the build quality is less than impressive. Can you hear this? there is a metal rattle on this reel. This metal rattle is not present on its more expensive sister or brother, and there is no rattle on the Cardiff whatsoever. So I don't like this feeling of loose parts. Too much free play on the line guide. Free play on the anti-reverse bearing. I don't like this. It doesn't feel as tight as a reel of this price caliber should. Not to mention something as whatever, one piece aluminum frame, Daiwa. But yeah, it doesn't feel tight and it rattles just a little bit. Moving forward, the frame. Too many pieces. I don't like a frame that's made of so many parts. It will never feel solid. Yeah, you know, when you try to twist it like this, it doesn't feel that it's twisting. But I'll tell you this. My record reels, which have the same frame, actually a little bit better because this part here is metal instead of plastic. When I compare them to the Cardiff, this thing doesn't move at all. So this reel only feels solid until you hold it back to back on a rod with a fish with the Cardiff. Okay, if you fight a carp back to back with this and this cheaper reel will feel much more solid. Nothing moves inside of this reel. Not the handle, not the gears, nothing moves. This reel does not feel as solid when you fight a fish. Yeah, when you just spin it, yeah, it feels fine. But when you have a frame that's made of that many parts, you will feel flex under load. So frame, not my thing. Next thing is my biggest grind, and it's even a little bit concerning. The gears. Now I will try to pull this as close as I can to the microphone on my camera, and then I'll amplify the volume times 4 just so you can hear the sound of that the reel makes when you reel perfectly empty reel, not even line, no fish, no nothing. You can hear audible, kind of like a grinding noise from the gears. Okay, this noise again not present on the record reel, and this is a 3-year-old reel that's seen a lot of fish. No noise here. The other thing, this reel, while not the tightest that I own, feels very smooth. I can't feel kind of grinding of the gears. Okay, this one, other than audible winding, you can kind of feel the grinding of the gears. Okay, I do not like this feeling. The one thing you will read in every review online of this reel is, quote, butter smooth, unquote. How can this be butter smooth? I mean, what is your basis of comparison? What reel is less smooth than this? Okay, so the Cardiff is $100 reel, much smoother than this. Forget about this reel. This reel has more bearings So they're very similar, but this one has more bearings, has 4 more bearings that actually support the gears and the level wind. So I expect it to be smoother if the gears are mounted on bearings and the level wind is on bearings too. But this one has only 1 extra bearing, although it does support the gears. Much smoother. You don't feel gears at all. The much cheaper Bass Pro Shop Catmax. Turn on that clicker. No gears noise. No gears noise. Much smoother reel. Much smoother reel. The only gear that I have with the same feeling and noise when you rotate with just the handle is this $25 no-name Chinese eBay stuff that I bought just for fun. Basically, I went to replace bearings inside. Whatever. I'll make another video about this reel, but listen to the noise. The same noise as the Catfish reel. Okay, so this is really disappointing. So the gears, I don't know why they feel rougher than on this reel. Is it just the extra bearings, or they're not cut as precise as on this reel? But the gears are disappointing. But let's move on with the cons. So this is a $160 reel. Nothing here clicks. Okay, everything is very tight. I don't think clicking would actually contribute or improve the functioning of the reel. But the spool tension knob does not click. The star drag does not click. The clutch. Now this is really disappointing. This clutch, I will show you. I have to show you an image from a $30 eBay reel, because that's the only place to find a clutch like this. Okay, really, Abu, $150 reel, and you give me this clutch? Really? I mean, even on this reel, I like the clutch better. Okay, first of all, it looks better and it clicks better. Look at this, you can hear this positive click. This clutch, first of all, looks extremely cheap. Second of all, clicking is okay, feels positive. Disengaging the clutch, super mushy. You never feel it click back. Okay, which makes it dangerous when you cast these heavy 4-ounce leads. If you touch the handle just a little bit, it will push the clutch out, and you're gonna have unpleasant surprise on your hands. Look at the Garcia record. Okay, thumb bar for clutch. These two reels, by the way, the difference is only like $40–50. Okay, this reel is discontinued, but if it weren't and you had to buy one of the two, paying $200 for this is a much better value than $150 for this one. By the way, the clutch on the $200 one, even though you have the thumb bar, feels exactly the same. Alright when you press it down, although I don't like the feeling even when you press it down, and super mushy on the way up. So I don't know if you're a fan of this Abu clutch. I'm not. I prefer a good positive click, so I know if the clutch is depressed or not. Another thing that you lost when you compare these two reels, look, metal, plastic. By the way, there are more metal parts in this reel that are plastic in this reel. The entire plate that the brakes are mounted is plastic here and metal here. Here are the specs on the Catfish Special. Only 4 bearings, which is actually 3 bearings. One of them is the anti-reverse and the other 3 are all on the spool. And then you have 5.3 to 1 gear ratio. Now they could have gone lower with the gear ratio, okay? Here is the box on the record. $50 more. You have 4 extra bearings, which is changes everything. And then you have 4.7 to 1 gear ratio, which actually makes you feel that the reel is stronger while you reel a fish or even just a 6-ounce weight. It's just much easier to reel in a 6-ounce weight with a 4.7 to 1 than with a 5.3 to 1. Now originally I intended to open the reel and show you the drag washers and the gears and everything, but I changed my mind because I plan on returning this reel. It's just, even at the discounted price, $120, in my opinion, this reel, I know I'm gonna enrage a lot of catfish anglers here, but this reel is a very poor value. I cannot justify spending $120 on this when this thing is $100 and this thing is $60, and you can find the new version of these for $199 with 8 bearings and the metal plates and the proper thumb bar and the smoothness and the extra stability that comes with it. So now that I've seen this reel, it really puzzles me. How come all of these 5-star reviews? I mean, there is nobody in the catfish world who has criticized this reel. How is this possible? I don't think someone who owns Daiwas and Shimanos will grab this particular reel, spin the handle and say, damn, this is smooth, butter smooth. Now let me get back to the first line of this review, because I can feel emotions are bubbling up. This criticism is not really about the manufacturer, because these 2 reels are quite alright. Even though I have all of the other reels, these are my favorite nighttime fishing reels because this handle is easy to find, the clicker is easy to find, and the reel is just nice and comfortable. Now the other Abus that I showed you are all super smooth. No gears to be felt. You can't feel any kind of gears or grinding on those reels. As a matter of fact, those gorgeous white Rivo Toro reels, the build quality and the feel on those reels is only comparable of everything that I have to these Daiwa Yogas. Okay, so I think I went over everything I had. I hope this review helps somebody with their purchasing decision. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this review. Do you agree? Do you think I got something totally wrong? Do you own this reel? Maybe I got a bad apple? Let me know what your opinion is.